We'll talk a little more about blockchain development, which has been the technology has been such a key part of your own entrepreneurial journey and how you implemented it. I think even with Sodio, eventually you were into blockchain development, and that was a service that you were providing to clients, and now obviously running Fantasy, which is blockchain based. So we'll go more into building businesses and all that later, but let's talk about the technology first, right? Which is blockchain, and it is a buzzword. Obviously, I think for a couple of years now, we've seen students and a lot of our young listeners as well are extremely interested in this and the opportunities that lie with this, right? So let's cover two things. One is with blockchain technology, what are some true opportunities that lie? You can paint a picture as to what's happening today and what the eventual roadmap also looks like if everything goes to plan. But on the other hand, let's also cover some of the challenges and myths that are commonly associated with this. And I think a lot of people come under the impression that it is going to replace everything on the internet and everything's going to move on a blockchain. So you can address that as well. But first, let's talk about opportunities with blockchain.
The opportunities for young guys who are just getting started or are, getting out of colleges, it's huge, both monetarily and the sort of experience that you get by working in a Web3 startup or a Web3 company. It's huge. All the brothers that I have who are just getting out of colleges, I've made sure I've said this multiple times to them as well, or the young lads who meet me. I tell this to them as well. Like, you should explore Solidity, explore blockchain development, because this is where the demand is at the moment. Now, imagine a person getting out of college who has worked on 2-3 ideas, who he's learned blockchain all by himself and has built like 2-3 products just as small projects. This guy is coming out of college and then he's bagging an offer of which starts at 24 lakhs, 30 lakhs. That's exactly what's happening, because the demand is so high and there are not enough people in India who could help you with blockchain development. There are not enough blockchain developers in India at the moment. The companies are more. We hire regularly, right? Because we need to upgrade ourselves. We need to upgrade our team all the time. So we hire I would say every 2 weeks, we have a new requirement for a blockchain developer. But sadly, we're not able to finalize on someone because that quality is not there, or there are not enough blockchain developers in India. So it's huge. It's huge. I mean, every person that I meet, if he's 21, 22, I tell him learn Solidity. Because that's where the demand is. If you want to get into development, start with that. So that's for the young lads. Now, talking about the technology, there is no simple way to define what blockchain can do. And I mean, it has already been spoken about. So anyone from the Web3 or blockchain industry, they would, keep on building the same thing. It's going to revolutionize. I mean, it's not going to happen in next 10 years, obviously. It's going to obviously take a lot more time, because you're challenging the government directly. And looking at the current situation in India, wherein they have put TDS, 30% tax on it. Right. I mean, it's obviously going to take some time, but there's always a positive side to it also, right? They've launched CBDC, which is again a very positive thing for the Web3 community. Sadly, the other side of it is also that all the Web3 companies in India, if they are a product-based company, they cannot officially form a company in India. They have to do it in either Singapore or Dubai. Every big project that has come out of India, be it Polygon, be it Bico, everyone has moved out, right? Because that environment is not there. They could get rated with, the government guys, they trouble them a lot, right? They move out of India. So that is the only sad part. But again, lots of innovations happening in Web3 in India. They start from India, but they move to Dubai and Singapore officially. But lots of innovations and great future for the technology in India.
Can you shed some light on probably like taking a simple case of what can be achieved? Why is there such a demand for blockchain technology in general? Like, is there, and specifically with respect to the problems it can solve a lot better by using it, right? So if you could just paint a picture as to what that would look like if successfully implemented.
Okay. See, fraud is the biggest issue in India. I mean, everything which is on a centralized server or in a centralized environment, it can be it can be frauded and it can be tampered with, right?
Hmm.
Which is why the demand of which is why there's a demand for blockchain and the technology.
Hmm.
One simple use case that I would say, talking in terms of the young audience that you have, when they so we had implemented this for the UAE government in 2018,
Hmm.
wherein we built a platform where every college kid or school going kid, when he passes out from a school or college, they get a degree, right?
Hmm.
Lots of fraud happens with the degrees in India as well.
Hmm.
Now, what the solution was that, every college, every school would deploy the your mark sheet, your certificates, and everything on the blockchain. And and let's say you go to a company and you apply there, that I want to work here. They do the verification, right? All they have to do is just check on the blockchain, and it would give them the right data because it's distributed. Everyone knows, no one can tamper with it.
Hmm.
This is one of the best use cases that I think. Identity verification is another. You link all your ID
Hmm.
identifications in blockchain. A lot of startups are doing that in India. Um, you link all your identities to into the blockchain, and then it can be verified by a single entity just with a click of a button,
Hmm.
and it would, you know, tell them that whether this person is a real person or if the identification that he has provided is correct or not. These are the two use cases and the best use cases of
Hmm.
blockchain
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the young audience, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's you covered that very well. You spoke about challenges that we face right now, especially like in an Indian context as well, right? Can you cover anything else with respect to the technology? Is there, in case there's anything challenge in terms of implementing it on a large scale to solve some real world problems? And along with that, if you could also cover some myths around what blockchain can solve and can't solve, if there is anything like that.
See, the only problem with blockchain at the moment, which I'm sure will get solved in like in a year or two, is the the scalability issue when you have, like, let's say, a lot of audience on your platform. I'm talking from a business perspective, right? And the gas fees and the gas fee that you end up paying is huge. Every transaction that goes through, just for context, every transaction that goes through a public blockchain, incurs a lot of gas fee that you have to pay to the blockchain miners, in order to facilitate your transaction.
Mm,
So that gas fee issue is a very big thing. Now there are startups like Solana who, kind of solve this solution, but they have other issues, which is why um, no one relies on Solana. Everyone
mm,
relies on Ethereum or Polygon. But again, Polygon has solved this issue to a very certain level. But again, talking from a business perspective, the gas fee that we end up incurring is huge. So that has to be solved yet. It is not completely 100% solved.
mhm.
There are many loopholes and issues there. So that needs to be solved. That is the downside. Second question, what was your second question?
Myths.
Myths, as in people only use Bitcoin or tokens and cryptos for legal activities. That
Mm,
is, I would say, 2% or 1% of it. There are actual transactions. There are so many tokens out there. Legal projects, real projects, not scam projects. There are people who are actually doing very good stuff with blockchain and crypto. They are building solutions which was never built before, and they're solving real life problems. So it's not just the scammers and the scammers who are using crypto, but there's like 95% of them are using it to solve real life problems.
mm. Yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be great for anyone listening to the podcast or anyone who stumbles across this to sort of really do a lot of your own research when it comes to getting into the space, because I think a lot of these myths and challenges, uh, you would, it would do good to get a good understanding of what is happening, and especially with the good things that are happening, right? With a lot of new networks, new things are being built on the blockchain and all of that. So I think that will give like a very good idea of the space and what sort of future we're heading into as well. So I think you would advocate for that as well, for sure.
100%. You should always do your own research as much as you can. Never believe any new project that's coming out. Wait for like 6 months or a year. See
Yeah.
if it is still there, and then maybe invest your money or do things like that.
Yeah, definitely.